Welcome to Highly Sensitive Healing. I'm Lauren LaSalle, a former therapist, a highly sensitive person, and a mentor for HSPs. For too long, I felt like there was something wrong with me. I felt everything deeply, sounds, emotions, other people's moods, and I learned pretty early on just to push through, to quiet my intuition, and to try to keep up with what everyone else was doing and what society expected of me. But the truth is, my sensitivity was never the problem. I just didn't have the language, support, or tools to understand it. This podcast was created for highly sensitive people who are tired of trying to toughen up or fix themselves and are ready to heal in a way that honors how they're wired. Here, we talk about nervous system regulation, unhelpful thought patterns, emotional overwhelm, and self-trust through a gentle, compassionate lens. You don't need to become someone new to feel better. You don't need to push harder or try more. You get to learn how to care for yourself in ways that actually work for you. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, misunderstood, or like you were carrying too much, this space is for you. My hope is that each episode helps you feel a little less alone and a little more at home in yourself. So, wherever you're listening from, welcome. Take a breath, settle in, and let's begin. Welcome to Highly Sensitive Healing. I'm happy to be back with another episode this week. As you may have noticed, if you are listening to this on the day that it released, it is Monday, so I am now switching from Saturday mornings to Monday mornings, and I'll tell you why, in case you're curious. It really doesn't matter, but I used to have sometime Thursday mornings at home by myself to record episodes, and I don't have those anymore. And I found that for every reason you can probably think of, I am much more awake in the morning than I am later on in the day. And so I just really I've been feeling pretty drained when my husband gets home from work. I just don't have it in me to record an episode. And so now I realized, instead of pressuring myself to try to get it out for Saturday morning, like I've been doing this whole time pretty much, I am going to just change the date and release it Monday mornings. So I have the whole weekend to find a time when I'm feeling like I'm able to record. I have enough energy. I have enough inspiration. And so that's what we're doing now. So do not expect episodes to drop on Saturdays. We're doing Monday mornings now. And if you can hear my cat meowing in the background, that is Crookshanks. He can't find anybody, and so he's calling for us instead of just coming to find us. Anyway, cats, I'm telling you. So today I wanted to talk about the hidden cost of being at war with yourself. And this is something that I dealt with for so much of my life, and until really recently, I wasn't able to see it in this way. And then I realized through really focusing on what I help my clients with, what I love helping people with, what I have been through and helped myself with in my life. And that is, I was at war with myself for just so many years. And I know so many other people, especially HSPs, can relate to this. And maybe you haven't heard it said in this way, and that's why I want to talk about it. Because sometimes the most exhausting relationship in our lives might actually be our relationship with ourselves. We are so much harder on ourselves than we are on probably anybody else in our lives. I think I can safely say that applies to most people. And if you are one of those people that, like me, you do the healing work, you do the growth work, you do the self-development work, and you still feel exhausted. And that's not because you're failing. It's because you are still fighting yourself. And sometimes, or I'd say most of the time, this happens without us even realizing that it's happening because likely it's something that we've been doing for so long that it's just normal to us. We don't notice that it's happening. But once you're able to start noticing it, it's sort of hard to not notice. It's sort of hard to have it just be going on in the background again, even though it will, but you'll start to notice it more and more and be aware of it. And that is the first step. And then you can, from there, start to change things. You can start to change your relationship with yourself, how you think about yourself, how you talk to yourself. And that's when things can really start going in a more positive direction. So here is what being at war with yourself can look like. I think a lot of people think that self-rejection looks obvious, but it doesn't all the time. Sometimes it can look like second guessing yourself all day long, overthinking every decision, replaying conversations, criticizing yourself after mistakes, believing that you should be further along than you are, trying to fix every uncomfortable emotion, and treating your sensitivity like a flaw. So start to notice how much of your mental energy goes toward managing yourself. And I don't mean supporting yourself. I mean managing yourself. Doing the things that I just talked about. How often are you second guessing yourself and your decisions? How often are you replaying conversations over and over and over? How often are you overthinking every decision instead of making a decision and sticking with it and feeling good about it? How often do you criticize yourself? Sometimes becoming aware of these things is really uncomfortable, right? I mean, we don't want to go, oh yeah, I'm really mean to myself all the time. But if you know that it's happening, that's when things can get better. That's when you can fix things. And that's why I want to talk about this, because I, like I said, spent so much of my life doing these things. And now that I've been able to stop doing them, or at least not do them all day long, like the amount of time that I do those things that I just mentioned has dropped significantly. And it frees up so much energy and mental space. And I want that energy and mental space to be doing other things. I don't want it to be over analyzing myself and my decisions and things that I've done and things that I've said. I don't want my time and energy to be spent holding myself back, essentially, and demeaning myself and being cruel to myself. And I don't think you want that either. So when you are at war with yourself, you stop trusting yourself. You stop feeling safe with yourself and you stop listening to yourself. And eventually you become disconnected from yourself. And if this has been going on for long enough, maybe you never really trusted yourself, felt safe with yourself, listened to yourself. Maybe you have felt disconnected from yourself for a long time now. And this is another thing that when it happens, you don't always know. You don't always notice. I never understood how disconnected I was from myself until I started putting the pieces together and figuring out who I truly was. How could I trust myself? How could I actually like who I was? And then once I felt like a whole person, I was like, wow, that other version of me, even the one that I felt like was a good version, it still wasn't the total version that I am now. And of course I'm going to change and have more versions of myself. This one now is just the first one that I've actually felt so comfortable being. So sometimes it's not until things really change that you realize, oh, I was so disconnected from who I actually was. And the cost of being at war with yourself isn't just an emotional cost, it is a life cost. Because when you are constantly at war with yourself, criticizing yourself, judging yourself, overthinking things, that causes you to hesitate. That causes you to stay small. You don't go after what you want. You seek validation from the outside instead of from the inside. You stay in relationships for too long especially relationships that are not good for you. I have been there. I have definitely been there. You abandon your own needs. And all of these things that I'm talking about, I have been through, I have experienced, and now I am on the other side of it. And I really like that is one of all the things that I want in life is to be able to help people get on the other side of it for them as well. Because I was the girl that seemed so happy on the outside, and I was miserable on the inside. And even the times when I wasn't absolutely miserable, like once I was through the anxiety and depression, I still wasn't comfortable with myself. I wasn't comfortable with who I was. I wasn't comfortable with what I looked like. I just wasn't, it was just uncomfortable. Like I was in the wrong body or something. But it wasn't even like just the physical part that I didn't feel comfortable. And it was just like being me. I don't even know how to describe it in a good way. I'm not that good with words, but like just everything just felt a little uncomfortable. And I think that's because I was sort of in an in-between stage of going from like not trusting myself, not accepting myself, and I was starting to be on my way there. And so I was like in the goopy mess phase where I wasn't where I had been, but I wasn't where I was going yet. And of course you have to go through that phase. It's inevitable. But I was constantly criticizing myself internally. I always put myself down. I always thought, oh, I can't do that because of whatever reason, like staying small. I was not believing in myself. I was always believing that I was the problem in like every relationship. And I didn't realize that I was spending most of my energy trying to be someone that I wasn't. And it wasn't like I was doing it on purpose. I just felt so uncomfortable that I didn't really know who I was. Like I couldn't let myself be who I was. And so what else are you going to do? If you're not being yourself, I guess then you're being somebody else. And I think part of what happens is that we have especially as being an HSP, and especially as if you're a woman, we learn to adapt. We learn to avoid being too much. We have to be what is needed. We want to be there for other people, so we become what they need in order to help them. And that ends up in us constantly checking, like, am I okay? Am I doing this right? Do people like me? Am I too much? Did I do enough? And for me, the turning point was realizing that there was never anything wrong with me. And when I realized that, I was like, well, thank goodness. Thank goodness. But then also I spent so much time thinking that there was something wrong with me and that I was the problem. And realizing that wasn't the case was like, well, good, but I spent so much time feeling the other way that's a bummer to realize. I stopped trying to fix myself and I started learning how to support myself. And part of that was discovering that I'm highly sensitive. And it took a while. But once I decided to fully like accept that and figure out what that meant for me and to embrace it, I was no longer trying to fit into a mold that I wasn't meant to fit in, to fit into a society that was not built for me or my needs or my temperament. I figured out what I needed to actually support myself, to make things work in a way that works for me. And so now I can trust my decisions. I can rest without guilt. I can speak honestly, which feels really good. I can talk about what I've been through. I can talk about anything, things that I believe in now, who I am, express myself, and I feel so much better about it. I do not replay every conversation in my head. Thank goodness, because that takes up so much mental energy. And I feel at home in myself. And it's not because I'm perfect or I'm like this person that I always thought I should be. It's because I stopped fighting who I actually am and I became who I actually am. I let her out. I feel like she was trapped in there for so long and now she is out and she's like, well, it's about time. It is about time that you let me out of there. And I would love to help you do the same thing. And this is exactly why I created the Becoming Circle. This is a very intimate, small, limit 5 people, 3-month group program. It is for HSPs who are tired of feeling like they are the problem, for HSPs who are ready to stop being at war with themselves and finally come home to who they are. And what we are doing in the Becoming Circle is we are meeting every other week for 60 minutes. You also get one-to-one Voxer access with me for the whole 3 months. You get to join the Healing Space, our private HSP community, where you will connect with not only the other members of the Becoming Circle, but other HSPs in that community. And we will get our own Becoming Circle private chat as well. You also get priority access to deeper mentorship as a member of the Becoming Circle. And like I said, this is limit of 5 people. So including me, that is 6 people. And that is what I'm capping it at, because I want everybody in this group to feel seen and heard and understood and all have the time and space and ability to get supported in the way that they need in this group. So if you would like to learn more, I will put the link in the episode description. We do start the week of July 12th, so you can join the waitlist now if you are interested. I would absolutely love to have you as a member of this. And because this is the first time I'm doing this, I have a founding member offer for the 5 people who join this group. This is just for this run of it. So if you are at all interested, join the waitlist and I will let you know when it is time to register. And if you have any questions, of course, let me know. Oh, I have one more thing that I wanted to share. Let me pull it up. Okay, so I have something that one of my clients / community members wrote, and she posted this on Instagram and I just happened to see it and it just made my little heart so big. So she wasn't even a one-to-one client. She has been in the healing space, the HSP community, for a couple years now, and also did one of my courses, the Sensitive Self-Care Collective, which I've since retired. But I wanted to read this message to you because it just meant so much to me. She wrote, "Dear Lauren, how do I begin to thank you for literally changing my life? Honestly, I can't begin to thank you enough for all you have done for me over the last 3 years. You helped me understand I wasn't all the negative things I thought about myself. I wasn't overreacting. I wasn't just too sensitive, over emotional, not good enough, and all the other things highly sensitive people live with. And most importantly, I wasn't alone in this struggle. It took me longer than many people to find out I was an HSP, but I am a perfect example that we are never too old to strive to find our best self. I now understand the self-loathing, the negative talk about myself, and not being able to turn off the constant reel of this type of talk constantly going on repeat in my head was because of how my brain is wired. Lauren, because of you, I now handle my daily life better, and I am handling the very heartbreaking stress I am dealing with too. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you." I honestly feel honored to have helped her so much in this way. And I'm so glad she posted that because it really means so much to me that my work is impacting somebody in this way. And I just want it to keep on going. I really, I love all of you guys out there. All I want to do is just be able to help and support people and get them to be closer and to where they want to be, who they want to be, the person they really are inside. Because I know what it's like to be stuck in there and then what it's like to be out. And it's a work. I mean, it's a struggle. It's uncomfortable. It's change, but it is so, so worth it. And I would love to be able to support you in this. So episode description has all the information about the Becoming Circle and my mentorship program. And I guess that's it for today. All right, well, I will plan on seeing you next week. Have a good week. Thank you so much for listening to Highly Sensitive Healing. You can help support the podcast by taking a minute to rate and review it, share your favorite episode with a friend, or become a subscriber on Patreon. Visit laurenlasalle.com for information about my mentorship programs, join my email list to stay up to date with how I can support you, as well as exclusive email list perks, and connect with me on Instagram at I am Lauren LaSalle. Happy healing.